So file new, let's call it just creative name of Leo2. If you've already got a Leo2, call it Leo2B or Leo2B not to be, whatever. Don't save it in the Python directories, put it in your own. Leo2. And I saved this shell. I'm beginning to have more sympathy for the students who turn in the shell. Alright guys, up at the top we have to add our import turtle.
Are you recording?
Yes I am.
Okay.
Including all those missteps I just made. Okay, so we have to import the turtle. Let's make our new turtle. Leo is equal to turtle dot turtle with a capital T. Make sure you get your parentheses in. I'm not going to bother making that screen one where we do wn is equal to turtle dot screen. Yeah, if we wanted to change the background color of the screen, that'd be great, or if we wanted to resize it, but let's not bother. Alright, just to make sure everything's working, let's make Leo go forward. 100 pixels. Alright, seems to be working. So we haven't done much with loops yet, but we're going to use loops now to draw a flower type shape. I'm going to delete that Leo.forward. We don't need it. So what we need is a variable to represent how many circles we want to draw and how many we have drawn. So petals of the flower, I want to draw 8. N is equal to 0. N is how many we've drawn. It's just our counter. While N is less than petals, let's draw a circle. No, is this enough? I think there's something else we want to do. We need to figure out what our angle is going to be. So above that, do angle is equal to 360 divided by the number of petals. Bless you. So if we're going to draw 4 of them, we'll make a 90-degree turn each time. You know, and 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 4 rights, 5 rights make a left. I don't know. Anyways, so let's draw a circle, Leo.circle, with a radius of 100, just because. And then let's add 1 to n. We could do this n is equal to n plus 1, or you can word that as n plus equals 1. I like that when it's shorter. All right, let's see if that works. No, it doesn't work because I forgot to make him turn the angle. So above or below that n plus line, Leo dot left by the angle we specified. Taking a while. I think I'll increase the speed of it next time. Well, here we go. We have our little spirograph circle looking thing. And it in fact stopped. Okay, so it is working correctly. Up here, let's do Leo.speed 0 so to run quickly. Alright, it would be cool if we could specify a few things. Like the starting position of it, and the size of it, and the number of petals. That's like 4 pieces of information, and that's kind of too much for what we're trying to do right now. But let's at least make it so that we can relocate our cursor somewhere else. so that we could draw a flower over here, and then we could draw one over here, and then we could draw one over there, and we could draw one over there. So we're going to make a go-to function. Why are we going to make it a function? So that we can call it over and over. And what it's going to do is it's going to lift the turtle's pin up, go to the specified place, and put the pin back down so it's ready to draw. So here's how you define a function. DEF, go to, and then you use some parentheses, and inside the parentheses we're going to type x colon y. Now whenever we've used parentheses in the past, we were passing data into another function. These are what are known as parameters. These are variables that accept data. We will see that really quickly. Okay, so we need to lift his pin up, Leo.pin up. Now we can set his x and his y position. Leo.setX, parentheses x. Leo.setY, parentheses y. And then let's put the pin back down so that the next thing we do will draw. Don't know why I'm spacing it like that.
What does pin down mean again?
Well, maybe I didn't cover that. Watch what happens. Get back to the show. Yeah, it keeps it from drawing. So import turtle. T is equal to turtle dot turtle. If I do this, go to, excuse me, t dot set x 200. It drew the line while it moved. And then t dot set y 40, 50, whatever. It drew the line while it did that. And in this case, I want it to lift its pin while it's moving over there and putting it back down so that it's not like an Etch-a-Sketch where everywhere it goes, it leaves a line. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Coordinates, yeah.
Well, let's try it out. Underneath the go-to function, let's do that. Let's draw an itty-bitty little circle, Leo.circle 20. Then let's go somewhere else on the screen. Go to, I don't know, 50 comma minus 50. And let's draw another little circle, Leo.circle 20. And then it's going to erase everything or draw over it all with this huge flower we drew. But that's okay. We'll get the point. We saw it draw a circle here. It lifted its pin, it moved over there, and it drew another one. So the first number is the x, which is the horizontal. The second number is the y. That doesn't seem... Why does it seem like that was negative 50 for x? Oh, because that's the center, and it went over 200, and then it went down 50. And that's what I told it to do, correct? Yeah, okay. Alrighty. Let's erase those go-to statements and those circles. But let's also make this flower code its own function. So do def flower and we want to put in the number of petals and the size or the radius. I think size would probably be a better name, but let's live with that. Since we have a colon here, we're going to have to indent all of this stuff underneath it. So highlight all 8, 9, 10 of those lines, hit tab. But we're going to have to remove that line, that petals. You could delete it. I'm just commenting it out to make sure that it's possible to see. And change this circle to the variable that we are creating here called radius. So it was 100. And again, you don't have to type this comment. It's just to make it real obvious what I did. Okay, now if I run the code, it does absolutely nothing. Great. Why does it do nothing? Because we create these functions, we define them, but we never call them. So down here at the bottom, let's do a couple of go-tos and a couple flowers. Go to 100, 100, flower with 16 petals of size 50. Then go to negative 100, 100. Draw another flower, 1650. And then we could do 2 more. Go to negative 100, negative 100. Flower of same size? I don't know. 32. Let's put a whole bunch more petals on there. Size 100. Put whatever numbers you want. And then go to 100, negative 100. That's the last corner, the one we haven't done yet. And I'm going to make a flower like that again. 32 petals with a radius of 100. Alright, that's looking kind of dumb. But you get the idea. Why did we define those functions? Because now, to move to a new place on the screen requires just one command. When we have this word here, go to, and we pass this data into it, it then runs up here and does all 4 of those statements. Each time we issue a go-to statement. And then when we say flower, and we pass in these 2 pieces of data, it runs up here. Petals is set to 16. Radius is set to 50. And then it does all this code. Each time we call flower. So a function could be hundreds of lines long. It could be thousands of lines long. And functions can call other functions, can call other functions, can call other functions. For example, this dot left here, that's a function. It's just one we didn't write. It's a part of the turtle class, turtle library. Then there's the leo.circle. Circle is another function. So we have a function called flower, which is calling 2 more functions. And who knows what functions those call in order to get their job done. So that's an example of functions. I think that's good enough. I said I wanted to cover 3 things. What was the second? Well, if I can't remember, we go to number 3. So let's go look at our Dropbox. We have that homework assignment. I'm not sure you can open the files. Let me change the date on it. Probably has a start date that may be preventing you from opening it. Yes, I know it was saved successfully. Go away. Alrighty. So if you look at homework 3, it's got 3 problems in it. Or it doesn't. You should be able to get the attachments. Refresh. There's 3 problems in the homework assignment. I think we'll do the 3rd one.
You deleted the end date. You didn't figure that.
I deleted the end date and not the start date. What do you know? Okay, thank you. Alrighty, my migraine is impacting my performance. Okay. You should be able to get into it now.
Got it.
All right, 3 conversion problems. Triples. This is for the Star Trek fans. Say that you can get some gold pressed latinum for the Ferengi. 1 bar of gold pressed latinum is worth 20,000 credits. And a tribble is worth 10 credits. They should pay you to take them away, but whatever. Write a program that will ask the user how many bars of latinum they have and calculate and display how many triples that would buy. So, how many bars of gold pressed latinum do you have? If you typed in 0, it would say you can buy 0 triples. But they typed in 3. Great news. That'll buy you 5,000 whatever, .11 whatever triples. Okay, I say note, the conversion is not correct. I just made up that number. You could round the answer to a whole number. You know, we could use a round command to make that, you know, like that. Milk. You like bathing in a bathtub full of milk. It's expensive. The bathtub holds 40 gallons. The cost of milk is $3.85 a gallon. You always discard the milk after each bath because otherwise it'd be gross. Ask the user how many baths they want to take. Calculate and display how many gallons of milk and how much it would cost. How many milk baths do you want to take? 7. That will take 200 gallons. Again, these numbers are purely made up. That will cost $621. And again, we might want to round those numbers. Lastly, sugar. My original name for it was sugar addict. A pound of sugar has about 1750 calories. It is generally accepted that 3,500 unburned calories equals a pound of weight gain. Ask the user how many pounds of sugar they eat in a day. Well, display how much weight gain that would cause in a week. How many pounds of sugar do you eat in a day? 0.5. If you do not burn that off and your teeth don't fall out, you might gain 7 pounds in a week. All right, so this is the one we're going to do. But we need to figure out how to do the conversion. There are ratios involved because we're dealing in different units. We ask per day, but we want to output per week. We ask how much sugar, but we want to turn that into pounds of body weight. So, if you can, write a single program so that it offers a choice of which conversion to do. We'll try to set that up when we do this homework, when we do it in class. Yeah, it works. Okay. So generally, you'd set up your conversions like this if you were going to solve them by hand. Say you know that there are 12 eggs in a dozen, and 1 dozen eggs costs $2. Going into physics or chemistry or wherever you had to do conversion of elements to, you know, other elements or whatever, the way you work the problem is you start with your given, such as I have $100. And you figure out where you're going with that. How many eggs will that buy? Okay, so $100. Here's a ratio. Dozen eggs for $2. And yeah, you could try to simplify this. You could go, okay, I know a dozen is 12, and I'm going to do this math even before I get here. But we're going to do it old school. We're going to say that for every $2 you spend, you get 1 dozen eggs. And then 1 dozen is equal to how many? 12, yeah. 12 eggs. And so if you remember from your fractions, you know, I drew these lines here, but you could pretend that instead of those lines, there's these multiply symbols. You can cancel units out. Dollar signs would cancel dollar signs, dozen would cancel dozen, leaving us with our final answer in eggs, which is in fact what we wanted. So based on this, we could figure out that given the amount of dollars, we need to divide it by 2. We could multiply by 1. Divide by 1, multiply by 12. And we could shorten those things, you know, where we say divide by 1 and multiply by 1 because they always get the same thing. That's one way to approach it. We could say eggs simplified is equal to the dollars divided by 2. I'm going to skip the times 1. Divided by 1, I'm going to skip the divide by 1, times 12. Might even work. Let's figure that out. If we have $2 that should buy a dozen eggs, 1 dozen eggs is equal to 12. Let's see if this actually works. We put 2 in here. 2 divided by 2 times 12. Yeah, that worked. So $2 bought us 12 eggs, according to our ratio here. That's one way to think about these problems. You could set up the equation like that. You could draw it out long form. If you have other ways of thinking about it, you can go with that. Go back to this one. See if we can figure out what our conversion ratios are. What do we know? Based on this, we know 1 pound sugar equals 1750 calories. And we know that (3,500 calories equals 1 pound gained. Now the fact that we have the word pound in here and here, these are definitely different things. So we just have to keep that in track. You know, it's 1 pound of body fat or whatever. Okay, so we want to ask them how much sugar. Input, okay, I'm going to do the whole thing. Start, tab, input, pounds underscore sugar. Oh, and there was one more conversion ratio. 1 day equals, 7 days equals 1 week. Okay, I hope I didn't make this one too complicated. So we're going to input pounds of sugar per day. I'm writing the whole word out. At some point, we need to convert it to weeks. I say we ought to do it right off the bat. So pounds of sugar per week. How would you convert pounds of sugar per day? If you eat 2 pounds of sugar a day, how many is that a week? So we multiply by 7. Is equal to, and I'm going to put the word set in front of it to make it look like our other pseudocode, equal to pounds sugar per day times 7. Alrighty, what's the next thing we can do? We don't know how many calories yet, so we can't figure out how many pounds we've gained. We know that in the end, we want to output pounds gained per week. That's our goal, but we don't have that yet. We don't have anything that even gives us close to that because we need to know the number of calories. But we can calculate the number of calories based on the pounds of sugar. So, set calories equal to if 1 pound of sugar is equal to that, how do you calculate the calories if you have 2 pounds of sugar or 4 pounds of sugar? Yeah, we're going to use multiplication. So calories is equal to pounds sugar per week times 3,500. Now that we have the number of calories, we can figure out how much weight we gained. I don't think it's going to be a multiplication again, though, because that would mean that we gained 3,500 pounds for every calorie. I hope that's not the case. So, how do we set pounds gained? Pounds gained per week is equal to calories what? Now, I didn't go up there and draw it like I did on that other problem, but I bet y'all can figure it out. We know the calories, we know the pounds gained. If we wanted to calculate the pounds gained, what do we do?
Calories intake, right? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, so if we have,
So we multiply.
multiplying's not right, but you're going in the right direction. Draw it out. 35,000 calories equals 1 pound. So if you want to find out X pounds,
You gotta divide, right?
you got to divide. So X is equal to,
0.5.
yeah, whatever, blah, 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 divided by 3,500 calories. And I didn't set that up right. I'm hoping this math makes sense. If you struggle with the math, text me and I can give you hints. Because it's not a math class, but
So it's calories divided by 3,500?
exactly. Or is it? I goofed this one. That wasn't 3,500. What was it? Yeah, it's 750. There we go. And yeah, if you eyeball it carefully, you can see that there's a shortcut involved. We could have taken 1750, divided it by 3,500, and shortened this calculation by 1. Okay, I think we have it. Let's find out. Let's write a program that does this. File new. Convert pounds of sugar per day to pounds of body weight per week. Now, although this is not strictly necessary, I'm going to declare our variables just to establish them. Pounds, nah. These are long variable names, and I'm not digging that. Pounds of sugar per day. Is that too silly? Pounds or sugar pounds per day. How about that? I'm just going to set that equal to 0. Not necessary. I'm just establishing the names in my head. I could use these variable names, but they're awfully long. Sugar pounds per week. That's my second variable that I'm going to need here. Calories. That's a good enough name, huh? And then pounds gained per week. That's our last one. Pounds gained per week. I'm not sure why I put 2 P's here. What was I abbreviating when I came up with 2?
Pounds per day.
Pounds. Okay, thanks. Okay, now we have our variables, and like I said, the only reason I listed them up there and gave them values of 0, that's called initializing. It's just so I'd have the names straight in my head. It's not necessary in this language, but it is in some languages. Alrighty, now we need to input the pounds of sugar per day. What steps do we need in order to do that? We already know how to input. We've done this several times.
Print the instructions first.
Print the instructions, use input, then convert. So print What did I say my message was supposed to be? How many pounds of sugar do you eat in a day? That's kind of a lot. Then we use an input. Here's our variable. Sugar underscore ppw is equal to input. Now let's convert that. Sugar ppw is equal to, I'm going to use double so that they can type in fractional values. Double sugar ppw. What was next on our pseudocode? Yeah, calories. Okay, so calories is equal to sugar pounds per day times $17.50. We're almost there. Pounds gained per week is equal to the calories divided by 3,500. Now let's output it. And let's try to make the output look pretty similar to this, although it's going to take some writing to get it to work, because the output that I suggested was a long statement.
I think there's one step that might be
Yeah, you didn't.
Did I make a mistake?
Well, does the 7 days come in anywhere?
You're right, I haven't converted the 7 days. That was dumb. Oh, I skipped that step completely. Thanks. You saved me from making an egregious mistake. Alrighty. Let's go back. Yep, I goofed. So the next thing is, after we converted it to a double, we should have done sugar pounds per week is equal to sugar underscore pounds per day times 7. And then wherever I use pounds per day down here, I need to make that pounds per week underneath it. So I just added this line. You don't need to add the comma yourself. And I changed this lines. Change to ppw. Really? Come back. Okay, that's the message I want to display, something like that. This is our output. If you do not burn that off, you might gain, comma, this is going to be long. I'm going to put a backslash here, but you don't need to. You can type it all on one line because your letters are smaller than mine. You might gain pounds underscore GPW, comma, pounds in a week. Now, do you remember what the backslash did, or have we even talked about that? Yeah, it lets you go down to the next line. Otherwise, I'd have to type it all in the same line, and it would look like this, and you couldn't read it all on my screen. I'm sure you can on yours, but not on mine, so I'm going to use that backslash here to let me go to the next line like that. All right, I'm going to test it now. I'm going to call it convert sugar. How many pounds of sugar in a day? I'm greedy. I like 1 pound a day. And it blows up. I use the word double, which is a Java term. Where in the world did I use that?
the sugar equals double. You set that as double. Set
float. It's called a float in this language. My mistake. Change that word double to float. In other languages, a double is a double-wide float. It's more precise and it can hold larger values. I apologize for making that mistake. Alrighty, 1 pound of sugar a day. It blew up. I think that's because I typed garbage, not because the program has a mistake. Give that one more shot. Why can I not type a 1?
I would rerun it. Try again.
I'll type 2.
I nearly had it.
What?
Let's go underneath that sentence.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. If you do not burn that off, you might gain 7 pounds in a week. For some reason, I thought if you ate 2 pounds of sugar a day, it'd be even more than that. But we could print our temporary variables, that one, and see if we're right. Let's do that. This isn't part of the assignment, but I'm curious anyways. Sugar underscore pounds per week. I'm putting this above our final print statement. Sugar, comma, or quote, comma, sugar underscore pounds per week. Let's print the calories. Calories, quote, end quote, comma, calories. And then we already know what the next thing is because we've already printed it out. So these are our temporary variables. What I mean by that is they're guideposts on our final calculation. How many pounds of sugar in a day? 1. All right, I can believe that. 7 pounds a week, that many calories, might gain 3.5 pounds in a week. That makes me feel a lot better about my Halloween candy. Okay. So we've done one of the conversions. This one had several steps. It had 3 steps. We had to convert per day, we had to convert to calories, and we had to convert calories to pounds. I'll leave this on the screen for a moment, but I'm going to flash back to the assignment to see if the other ones are that complicated. Okay. This one has gallons in a bathtub. It has cost per gallon. I think that's only 2 conversions. Because what are we going to do? Ask number of baths. We're going to want to convert that to gallons. We're going to want to convert that to dollars. That's just 2. This one took 3 steps. So it was a little harder to wrap our brains around. Here we go. This one. I think this is also 2 steps. We're going to ask for latinum. We're going to convert to credits. So set credits equal to latinum times whatever. And then we're going to convert to tribbles. Again, that's 2 steps rather than 3. So these 2 should be easier than that last one. So if that last one seemed vexingly complex, that's why we did that one. That's why we knocked it out of your way. Okay. Let's set this one up so that we could ask the user which one they wanted to do. Way up here at the top. And by the way, I don't want to go too fast. Anybody have syntax errors or need help getting this to work? All right, let me pause. Okay, so now we want to modify our program, if you want to. You might leave that one alone, but then do a save as because we're going to make changes to it. Let's just call it convert sugar to. Okay, so what we want to do is ask the user what to do. Let's print a menu. 1. I forget that first problem. Oh yeah, tribbles. Print 2. Milk bath. Print 3. Sugar. Then let's print a question. Which do you want to do? Now this is at the top of our program, above everything else. We need to read that into a variable. Strictly speaking, we don't have to convert it. But I guess we're in the habit of converting, and we may as well do that anyways. So, which is equal to input, and then let's convert that to an int, which is equal to int which. Now let's have an if statement. If which is equal to 1, remember it's equal to 1 colon. We don't have that conversion yet, so I'm just going to print a message. Convert latinum to triples, because that's problem 1. That's all we're going to do there. And you're going to go back and fill that in as part of your homework. Now we're going to do elif. Bless you. Elif, which is equal to 2 colon, print convert milk bath to dollars. Elif, which is equal to 3, that's where we are. Print convert sugar to weight gain. We need the rest of this all the way down to the bottom tabbed over to match this tab level. Or we could put it in its own function so that it could be called with just one word. But we really haven't covered functions very much. We just typed it one time. So now that I've got all that, I'm going to highlight everything from this line all the way down to the bottom and tab it over. How did I highlight all that? I just held the shift key and the down arrow, went all the way down, or you can use your mouse, and then I hit the tab key and that pushed it all over. Now let's try it out. So if I choose 1, it's not going to do anything. It just prints that message, convert latinum to triples. If I choose 2, it shouldn't do anything. Convert milk bath to dollars. If I choose 3, it should do something. Except I hit return rather than typing in a number, so it blew up. Let's try that one more time. 3. How many pounds of sugar in a day? 0. You might gain 0 pounds. Okay. Then if I type in something that's not even on there, like 4, it just won't do anything. I could put an error message there, you know, one final else at the bottom. I don't consider that strictly necessary, but it's good programming. If we had not converted this to an int, then there would not be the possibility of an error if they didn't type in an int. So you know what? I want to take that out. That line that says which is equal to int which, comment it out, and then put quotes around our numbers. Like that. These are the 3 lines that changed. That one, that one, that one. And again, you don't have to add the comments. That's just for your visual help. Why did I do that? So that if you accidentally type in A or something like that, it doesn't crash the program. It just doesn't work right. It just doesn't do anything. What do you want to do? I want to do A. Okay, it doesn't blow up. It just doesn't do anything. That's cool. What if we want to make our menu support A, B, and C as choices rather than 1, 2, and 3? We could do that. You just have to change them here. A, triples. B, milk. C, sugar. And then you would change your whiches down here to match. A there. If which is equal to 2, change that to which is equal to B. Elif which is equal to 3. There you go. Then if you don't like that change, undo it. Now that didn't work. I typed in C and it didn't actually work.
Because you put B
That's because I
twice.
put B twice. Yeah, thank you. There we go. So by the way, when I'm grading assignments, if you turn in an in-class assignment and it doesn't actually run, if it generates a syntax error, sometimes I'll let that slide. But if I think it's really important, I'll give you like an 80% on it and ask you to revise it to get it to compile. That's just because I really want you to get that program to work, because it's very similar to the homework that you're going to do. All right, if I was a good professor, I would make y'all do pseudocode for this first and then do the program. I will make the pseudocode optional. If you feel like the pseudocode will help you write the program, that's totally okay. Do it, upload it. But if you don't feel like the pseudocode is necessary, go ahead and write the program. That doesn't mean that in the future, if I say write pseudocode, you can skip that step. It's just optional this time, because we've already done a lot of coding that's pretty similar.
Do you want all three conversions in one?
Oh, sure, you can upload all three. Alrighty. That leaves us with 10 precious minutes left. Let's take a roll. And we will call it a day. So please upload your document in in-class F. If you walk in late and I've already taken roll, I go back and I check the in-class assignments, and if you turned one in, you get counted as being here. So it's really important to put your in-class assignments, and they are worth points. Just a reminder. Okay. We don't really need to videotape us taking roll.